I'm Fleur Woods, contemporary fibre artist coming to you from Aotearoa, New Zealand. This podcast is produced on the land of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. Joining us today are husband and wife duo, crochet extraordinaires, Lissy and Rudi Cole, based in Tamaki, Makaurau, Auckland, Aotearoa, New Zealand. This couple not only dreamed big, their love and joy have expanded on an epic scale. Imagine crochet structures as big as your house, for real. I recommend you get the kettle on for this one. Haere mai, welcome. Join us to learn how to bring big dreams to life. These Māori artists are now sharing their love and their culture across the globe with their most ambitious project to date, Wharenui Harikoa, House of Joy, a life-sized Wharenui Māori meeting house created entirely by hand in fluorescent crochet. You might want to make a cuppa and get comfy, maybe even create as we chat, because there is a delight in this gathering that is really worth slowing down for. A note to our Take Two fibre art and mixed media community. Thank you for always sharing these conversations so generously. If you enjoy this one, please subscribe and share it with someone in your circle, a fellow artist, a friend who loves stitching, or anyone who would be inspired by a creative journey. Kia ora, Lissy and Rudi. It is such a joy to have you both here with us and the Take Two art community today. I would just love to invite you to begin our conversation, Rudi, with a karakia, if you wouldn't mind.
Ai, kia ora, kia ora. Ai, me karakia tātou. Pāua ki uta, pāua ki tai, pāua ki tua o te pai o matariki. Tuia ki te rangi, tuia ki te papa, tuia tira atua, tira tangata. Karongo te pō, karongo te ao. Pāua ki uta, pāua ki tai. Kia pono, kia tika, kia aroha. Kia tau iho mai nā manaakitanga ki runga ia tātou. Haumie, huie, tākie. Kia ora.
Oh, thank you. I already feel just so much more grounded and ready to connect with you guys. In honour of our conversation today, because you are fabulous contemporary fibre artists who are also Māori, I have prepared my pepeha, which is the Māori way of introducing yourself. So I'm going to start with that and introduce myself. Kia ora tātou, ko kawara te moanga, ko te tai o arere te awa, no apamuteri ahau, ko Woods toku whānau, ko Fleur toku ingoa. And for our international audience, our Kiwis will probably be a bit familiar with that kind of introduction, but for our international audience, that's me saying hello and welcome, acknowledging my mountain and my river and the place that I'm from, and letting you know that my surname is Woods and my first name is Fleur. I'm also a contemporary fibre artist. I'm based in the South Island, and Lissy and Rudi are coming to us today from the North Island of Aotearoa. And Lissy and Rudi, I'd love to open up and invite you guys to introduce yourselves as well.
Kia ora, Fleur.
Tēnā koe e Fleur. Ko wai ahau. Ko te kiwai o te kete, ko tēnei taha, ko taku whakapapa ki Waikato no Ngāti Makirangi me Ngāti Kōhua hau, ki tērā taha, ki taku whakapapa ki Taranaki, no Ngāti Ruanui me Ngā Ruahine ahau, ki taku whakapapa ki te tara o te ika a Māui no Ngāti Pāua hau, o Waitakaruru te whenua, mako te marae. Ko taku whakapapa ki te tuara o te ika a Māui no Ngāti Tahu me Ngāti Whāua hau, ko te rama te marae. Nō reira, ko Rudi Robinson, tōku ingoa. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Tēnā koe, Fleur, ko Lissy Cole tōku ingoa. I te taha o tōku karani mā no Ngāti Hine ahau. I te taha o tōku karani pā no Ngāti Kahu ahau. Kia ora everybody, kia ora Fleur. My name's Lissy, and my tribal affiliations here in Aotearoa are in the north of the North Island, in the far north of the North Island, and it's so great to be here today and to talk all things art and fibre.
Wow.
Kia ora. Kia ora.
You.
Kia ora. Thank you so much. That was just such a thrill to be able to experience that with you guys and to begin a conversation in a way that honours where we are and who we are. And now, if you guys are cool with it, I love to just dive in. I'm not really a small talk kind of gal. I'm more of a like, let's go deep. Let's dive into the pure joy, magic, aroha of Lissy and Rudi and everything you create. So I just wanted to bring some context to today, because I think in the introduction, people will have had a glimpse at your work and the epicness that you create, which is, I think you can feel it through the screen and they'll be excited to know more. But I wondered if we could start to bring context to those epic dreams that you've brought to fruition by just starting with how you met, how you came together and started this journey of creativity together.
Kia ora. I think what would be really nice is we're going to sing a waiata, and it's a waiata, a song that always grounds us in the purpose of our kaupapa, which is it is about love. It's aroha, love. And this is a song that we sung to each other at our wedding, and it also just reminds us of the true intention and purpose of what we do through our mahi toi, through our artwork, and through the way that we live our life. So
beautiful.
It's a classic Prince Tuitika number, E Paul. Kia koe te tau, haku mihi, aha kua haere, koe ki hea, makura koe, e whai atu e, ko kaku aroha, ka utonu. Tēnā raihine, huri mai raki a hau e tau nei. Hei, utana atu e ipo. O tira e hine, kua taunga ke tēnei tinana, au e ki te aroha e ipo. Ki te aroha e ipo.
Wow.
Kia ora. So Rudi and I met. Oh,
I'm not crying, you're crying. It was beautiful. Honestly, so beautiful. What a magical way to just remind us, purpose. Presence.
Because we met later on in life. So we met in 2014, 11 years ago. And, we've both been on our separate journeys and both were, in a good place in our lives. And, when we met, we knew straight away that everything that we brought to our relationship, all of our experiences and skills were very, very opposite, but very complementary. And we began to really start to dream of a way that we could fuse both everything that we both brought to create a life together, well, creatively.
And you know, Lissy was all about the softer materials, you know, the fabrics, the textiles, the colors, and my background is all hard materials, metals, you know, wood, and you know, and how can we bring our two worlds, you know, how can we merge that, and you know, because that was our magic, but how can we make magic together?
And so we know that one of the most pivotal, a really pivotal point in our journey was leading up to our wedding. We got married here at home, and we were making all our decorations, and we had this day where we were both making things, and the feeling was so intensely joyful. And I said to Rudi, oh my God, okay, we need to send this feeling up into the universe, because I know it's all about the feeling. And so we quickly got together on our little deck outside and held hands, and we just said a very simple prayer that this was how we wanted to live our lives, creating together, sustaining ourselves. Amen. And, you know, we
all know, you know, as makers, it's about the intentions that we put into our art, our intentions that we put into what we're making, because that's what we want people to feel. That's what we want people to get from that.
Yeah. Oh, and you do feel it. And it's lovely to hear that you guys kind of just naturally came to it in such a beautiful and, I mean, almost feels gifted way, like that moment of just preparing for this really special celebration that could have been easy to pass off as something else, because there's a lot going on in that time. But the fact that you both felt it and then asked for it and then allowed space for it is, I mean, how many years ago now was that to where we are today?
8 years ago.
Wow. A lot has happened creatively for you guys in 8 years. That is huge. What a journey. Yep. And obviously you were both separately creative souls.
Yes.
But to realise that you both experienced so much joy creating in the same space, but creating differently. Obviously, the wedding preparations were a catalyst, but how did you then go from knowing that this energy of making was a really important way of you to share aroha and love with the world? How did you go from that to actually developing, I guess, techniques and an aesthetic together?
Well, it's really been such a natural and gentle journey for us. You know, I left a 9-to-5 to pursue what I knew was my soul's calling, which is creativity. And at that stage, Rudi was working 4 days a week, leaving himself free for a Friday so that we could create together on the Fridays. But that's when it was around that time, 2016, 2017, when I discovered crochet. And once I left my job and I had to figure out, well, now what? We started yarn bombing in our neighborhood. We had a friend come over who I told her that that's what I was really wanting to do. I discovered London Kay, the crocheter in LA, and was so aligned with her creativity and inspired. And a friend of mine said, do it, just do it. Like, go and put something out on the street. And I went, okay, all right, okay, I'm going to do it. And so we did it for 2018 Anzac Day. We put a great big poppy on the motorway overbridge, and at the same time too started to we found a fence, you know, one of those wire fences covering an ugly old empty section up the road, and we started to put things on the fence, and then really just so slowly it just grew. You know, we started to do workshops at my grandson's primary school and at our local library, and we could see that this journey was needed and wanted in our community. And you know, and it just everything that we did has grown, has led to the next thing and the next thing. You know, because also too was that the putting the joy on the fences with the crochet made us think about putting it on our car and creating the joy ride where we crocheted the outside of our car, because we thought, well, let's take this joy mobile, let's drive it around.
I just love that.
You know, and so that just got us out on the streets, and people just, you know, the resonance with people was immediate. You know, people resonated with this idea of joy and colour and love straight away.
But Fleur, I do have to say, you know, we have an amazing purpose of joy and aroha, but that has also come from deep pain in our lives.
Yeah, thank you, because that's exactly sort of, I was going to say, where did the resilience and the bravery come from to make these? It's a brave step to stop your full-time job, to even to take a day even out of your paid employment for creativity. That's super brave. So what was the catalyst? You don't have to obviously dive into deeply personal histories, but I think a lot of folks want to find that bravery, that courage, but they don't always. Yeah. So how did you take that step? What motivated that?
Look, it was a deep burning. For me, it was an absolute, it's always been, I've always known that to be who I am. And the place that I had been working at had become unhappy for me. And that helped to force me out. And I was terrified. I was utterly terrified. But what I know to be true, and I knew it back then too, was if I'm living my truth, if I'm living what I know is true deep in my wairua, in my spirit, I know I will be supported to do so by all the forces in this universe that I know are with me. And so with fear and trembling, I did it. And, you know, and then Rudi followed not long after that, it was, you know, COVID hit. And the place that he was working at just became untenable. And so he said to me one day, I'm quitting. And I had a little freak out and was like, oh, but your money pays the rent. Like,
We got 10 weeks rent.
Yeah. And he said, we're going to be all right. We'll be all right for like 10 weeks, but we're going to be all right.
After that, I know, we're all in.
Anyway, I couldn't stop him. And the next minute, he's like, I've quit. And I was just like, oh, my God. And so every single day, Rudi and I would just say a prayer and just say, tupuna, our ancestors, please make a way. Please make a way for us to live what we know to be true, which is to shine and share the love of our tupuna out into this realm. Yeah. And we just have always trusted them, and we continue to have to trust them to assist us in sharing love with this world and paying our rent and having to still exist in this realm.
This is the thing, right? Because this is the reality for all creatives. There's a catalyst often. We know it's our soul's work. I can really relate to that feeling of trusting your ancestors. I remember the first time I picked up a needle and thread and brought it into my work. It was like I can't really explain. It wasn't, it felt like the women of past generations, my ancestors, were there with me in the studio in that moment. And it was the deepest knowing I've ever experienced of anything in my life, probably apart from giving birth to my babies. Like, it was just a fundamental moment of like, okay. But those moments, as magical as they are, do not absolve you from having to pay your rent. So there's like, so I guess what I'm hearing you say is that you guys have deep faith that the work is your purpose, and that whilst there's the practical elements of life that need to be dealt with, through that faith, you are able to find the courage to continue the work and sometimes muddle along if you've got to make it happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So who taught you to crochet?
YouTube.
Yeah. Me too, with stitching pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I come from a very creative whānau. My dad was a very well-known New Zealand fashion designer, and he was a high creative. And so I learnt, that's where my love of textiles has always come from. Textiles and colour and boldness really comes from my dad. And I didn't have anyone to show me. You know, my nana, who did crochet, you know, she passed away when I was 6. And so in the time after leaving my job, I really was exploring, and I really can't tell you what drove me to go and buy a hook and wool. But I must have seen something online that inspired me. And because, yeah, I really honestly know that the crochet found me. But it really did take me leaving my job to devote full time into this truth that I knew was true deep inside of me, without the distraction of something else, you know, the other work. But yeah, just as soon as I started, I was obsessed. I just was like, I didn't realize it was so easy. I was like, oh my God, you can actually make something really quickly, because I'm a sewer, and I'm a rip, shit and bust type sewer. So I will whip me up and out, but you know, an hour before I've got to go out. I was always put off by knitting or crochet because it felt like it would take months or something. But discovering how quickly you could make things up was very exciting to me, because I was like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. You can make, especially if you use chunky wool and a big hook. So then I have to say I did force Rudi into learning.
Lissy's project started to get, there was more. Yeah, there was more projects. There was a lot of things happening. She says, hey, you got to.
I said, sorry about it, but you're going to learn, because I need assistance now. So
great. Like, you'd already tested. Yeah. You already knew you wanted to create together.
Exactly.
And so it's like, well, I found this cool thing. You're going to have to help me bring these visions to life. But do you also feel like Rudi was the right guy for the job, because he has obviously that ability to go 3-dimensional because 100%. Of his previous creative experience? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you know, and then with the projects, you know, Lissy was saying, you know, can you carve out a tiko? You know, that's the figure on top of our wharenui on our ancestral houses, and I'm like, yeah, I can do that. And that's how we really started, you know, with doing out the type of work that we do. So I carved a tiko out of polystyrene, and then she could immediately see the potential for what we could do.
I love that.
These beautiful images are from the largest piece that we've made to date, Wharenui Harikoa, which translates as big house of joy, a very joyful house. And the kaupapa, or the purpose of our whare is...
Ko Wharenui Harikoa. He poro whakahako ko uenuku tāwhana ki te rangi. Wharenui Harikoa is a refracting prism of our tupuna-inspired light, or ancestor-inspired light. It shines across the sky like a rainbow, manifesting intergenerational healing and deeply felt joy, one loop at a time, connecting all people and igniting joy globally.
And I've been in it. I've been lucky to be in it with my youngest on New Year's Eve, which was a really, really special experience, I have to say. I was prepared for it to be cool, but I wasn't prepared for it to be transformative. So what I find really interesting about what you guys have done is you've taken a really relatively simple technique that, like you've said, is fast and flexible, and you've taken something that most people make small things with, practical things with, and you've expanded it. Obviously, even from yarn bombing days, there was this compulsion to take it into a public space. I'm really interested by that, because a lot of people crochet and a lot of people sculpt and a lot of people create and share their vision, but not many people take the step from a creative studio practice to creating public artworks that other humans can physically be inside of, that are so tangible and physical. What was the trajectory like for that journey? What made you feel compelled to do that?
Look, it's a tupuna gifted vision. And, in 2018, and we're always thinking bigger. I'm always like, big, go bigger. And after the joyride, and we could see that the resonance with people, but more importantly, the resonance within our own selves, to understand why we connected. I knew straight away, I could see that we connected so deeply to crochet through, because it's the physical act of crocheting is connecting loops. And I could see that crochet was giving a visual to everything we know to be true in the unseen world, which is, it's all about the connection, the eternal connection to our beloved tupuna and to our ones to come and to everybody here in this realm.
Yeah.
And I think we are big visionaries. We are visionaries. And, what I love about our tupuna too is their generosity, because the visions that they have for us is not just for their grandchildren and their descendants and nobody else. This vision of aroha is for humanity. Yes, it's for Māori first and then everybody else, but it's a vision for humanity. And, I see too that, my father is of English descent and my mother is Māori, and the work that Rudi and I create is definitely a bridge between both of those distinct worlds. And, growing up in Auckland here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, in a very large bicultural whānau, in the 70s and 80s, it was difficult, and there was always the internal battle for me of the colonized and the colonizer, and being too brown to be white and too white to be brown. And so the beautiful, that's been the really beautiful part of this journey, is bringing all of our whakapapa, both our Māori and, for me, my non-Māori whakapapa together. And which is a beautiful example of the fusion between Rudi and I. It's a collaboration. This is a collaboration, Rudi and I. It's a collaboration between us and our tupuna, and it's also collaborative between many different artists here and internationally. So, when the vision was gifted to us in 2018, there were 3 things about this vision that were from day one. 1, it would be a neon pink crochet woolen wharenui. 2, it would feel like entering the whare would be like coming under the embrace of your nanny. And 3, that it would have a global impact of aroha. So we knew from day one that this whare would tour the world and have an impact. And so, you know, the dream is that we all, the world comes together united in peace and love and harmony and joy. And, you know, and I think that the timing of this wharenui to go out there into this world at this time with so much uncertainty, with so much division, it blows my mind. And, you know, she's only a small whare. She's 9 meters by 5 meters. But she's also, when you step inside, it is as vast as the universe.
Yeah.
And, you know, the whare, you know, Rudi and I stand on a pretty simple foundation of love, and our message is one of love, but told in a very uniquely Māori way through the stories, through our pūrākau, our stories. And in this case, our Wharenui Harikoa is sharing the story of Matariki, which is our Māori New Year here in Aotearoa that occurs in June, July every year. And it's been also another beautiful way for Rudi and I to connect back to being Māori, to connect back to who we really are beyond all of this realm, but to the truth of who we are as beings. And creativity has been the most powerful way for us to access the truth of who we are. I
think I think the cool thing is, you know, crochet transcends cultures.
Yes.
Yeah, because that links us all. I used to do crochet workshops in prisons.
Wow, that's so cool.
And you know, the guys would also talk about their nannies would crochet, you know, and there was such a lovely way that we was able to break down barriers, and talk more. So, you know, they're really tapping into their soft spaces that they had inside, and you know, Inwa can be such a hard place. So yeah,
and,
so beautiful. No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I wanted to quote our beautiful, beautiful friend Maunga Rongo Te Kawa, a beautiful quilt maker, who he says, you know, for him the fabrics soften stories, and it's the same with the crochet. You know, it's a soft medium. People connect to the medium of crochet immediately through memories. It evokes nostalgia, and it evokes memories of a beloved nanny or auntie or uncle or whoever who's made something for them. And then in that moment of going within to the memories, people's guards drop, the barriers drop, and they become open to really just to be open to what this wharenui is sharing, which is a deep, transformative, as you say, intergenerational healing for us all, and has also given many non-Māori the opportunity to enter into a wharenui for the first time.
Yeah.
There have been many, many non-Māori that have never been to a whare, or many Māori that aren't connected to their own marae. So, you know, it's just an incredibly special, sacred space, and a deeply celebratory whare. It's all in celebration of our people, of our tupuna, of our resilience, of you know, and the resilience of humanity.
And you can so feel it. I think the way that you guys speak about fibre really resonates with me on many levels, but I think you're right. These connective, we can bring our stories through a connective vessel, and sometimes the materials that we use are that vessel, that link. And, you know, fibre, threads, textiles are one of humanity's ancient technologies, you know, and all cultures feel connected to that deeply. I believe in creative DNA, and hearing you guys talk about your different backgrounds and, you know, really, really interesting to me how fibre can act as a metaphor for so many things.
Yes.
As a vessel, as an illustration, as a link. I certainly felt it when I was in Wharenui Harikoa. It just felt like, on one hand, being gifted the opportunity to be part of a whole new culture and set of myths and legends that I wasn't born to. But at the same time, I felt so included and so welcome. And that is quite the gift, really, because I think often when I'm not the person that goes to an exhibition or an experience and reads the blurb. Like, I'm just that annoying person that skips all the information and goes straight in and wants to have the experience. And the fact that you just didn't even need to, I went back and experienced that all after, but just to walk in and be embraced and to feel that, and to know that that came from crochet via YouTube, a relationship, a partnership, all these like little jigsaw pieces that have come together. And this is by far not your biggest project. I know there will be bigger projects. In fact, on your Instagram, I was delighted to see you talking about covering the Beehive, which is our government house, essentially, with a crochet tea cozy. Would be, I mean, I am all in for that. All in for that. And I think this perspective, I'm really curious if you could talk us through a little bit of the actual physical journey of going, okay, we have started to put some real strong pieces together. We're listening, we feel the signs, we're talking to our ancestors, we're supported, we're brave, we're physically making. But then, like, there's a lot of logistics that go into going from, hey, I've done a bit of crochet, we're teaching some people crochet, we're sharing the love, to, hey, now we're actually going to take this and build a mess. And, like, I know you say it's small because you've been into probably really epic wharenuis. However, it is about the size almost of my house. Like, it's massive. And to be in it, you know, it's logistically, as someone who works with fibre, I am in absolute awe of how you approached it. So I'd love to understand a little bit more about what did that look like in the studio? What kind of hours was that? How did you decide to collaborate with others? Like, how did you go from, yes, we're up for big stuff, we're here, to physically make this thing happen?
Rudi is, I call Rudi my Māori MacGyver. Rudi is bloody clever. And, you know, Rudi has had about 6 million problem-solving issues to work through during this process.
Yeah.
But really, in all honesty, we just pretty quickly decided on a size. We went, okay, it's going to be basically the size of our double garage.
Yeah.
We'll have this kind of pitch. And because Rudi's got an engineering brain, he was able to do the pitch. We had zero idea about what the structure was going to be. Like, how is this thing going to work? Okay, well, we won't worry about that now. Let's just start working on the po elements. The po being the statues, the forms. And so, yes, we just went, okay, well, we think that the sides of the walls will be this size.
Yep.
Rightio, we're just going to begin, and I'm sure that the structure will reveal itself to us on this journey.
Yep.
And Rudi will have a lot to say about this process, because
I think what was important about this journey is that we have names and meanings behind all our colours,
yes.
and that really helps us in our colour palette and how we're going to do things. Like, our pink is not pink; it's Harikoa, which means to have to be joyful. Our black wool, you see up the back there, is called tūmanako, and that means to have hope. And our yellow is our yellow,
the Waimaori,
good fortune. Good fortune.
So it was important for us to, we have it, like we said, the cup. Yes, we need to talk about the colour. But if we just go back to your question around the process, we really did just begin. We received a little bit of funding from Creative New Zealand to begin. And, we had to pick a day to start, and we were very, very nervous about starting, because we knew that once we started, there was no going back. We were going to have to finish this wharenui.
Yeah.
And so we picked our date, and it was January the 8th, 2021.
Yeah.
And we got up at dawn to do our dawn karakia, our dawn prayer, to start this journey. And it was raining, very, very, very raining. Yeah. And we stood out on our back deck there, and there was Rudi and I and my daughter Jasmine and my grandson and one random nephew that happened to stay the night before. And we were all on the deck. We said our prayer, and as Rudi said the karakia, the rain became so intense, and I knew straight away that was the tupuna, and they were blessing this journey. Yes. And they said, this whare it's already happened. It's happening. You're doing it. It's all good. It's all going to be okay. And we support you. We love you. And that was so incredible to experience. And then the rain cleared, and
we started.
Rudi was out there in the grass, set up his trestle tables, started cutting and carving and everything, from the collaborations to how the structure ended up being the way it was all a natural part of the journey.
Fleur, I got to say, we were all in. We every moment of our lives was all about Wharenui Harikoa. Everything, everyone we spoke to, we brought people, because we say to people, oh, we're going to crochet a wharenui, and they're like, oh, okay. What are these guys on?
Oh, I know what. While he's talking to you, I'm going to go get our little marquette.
So,
good. Yeah.
Yeah. So we brought everybody that we met. We brought them into our world. And they could feel the aroha, they could feel the vision, and then and they still remember now. They remember when it was like this. It was like
so brilliant.
So straight away, Rudi went outside with the like skewers.
And that is so cool.
Because we were like, we need to get people understanding what the vision is.
Yeah.
And so we were able to present this. And then people were like, oh, okay.
Yep.
Because just to wind it back a tiny bit, you guys, prior to the wharenui, were already making wall-hung artworks. So you had gone into dimensional crochet, both in public spaces, everything from yarn bombing and really freestyle stuff, to probably already making a connection with thoughts around colour palette and story. And so it wasn't as though you went from, oh, we've yarn bombed one poppy and taught a couple of workshops, to now we're making a wharenui. You had built some bodies of work together as creatives to obviously, I guess, test some concepts in a beautiful, well, life works in beautiful ways, right? It was what you probably needed to do to know just enough to then take on this epic challenge. Like, you'll never know what you need to know to do something as big as this, because, I mean, you'd spend your whole life planning for it otherwise, wouldn't you? Yeah.
And the great thing was the whare was, it was a work in progress.
Yeah.
So we're able to have a first iteration at the object space. Then that allowed us to have a look at the space of the whare. You know, we were down at the douse, and that allowed us to have a look at the neon effect of our wool, and having a completely blacked out room.
Yes.
It was this work in progress allowed us to be able to do all those things, and having a big space to actually put up whare beforehand. That was amazing, and we're supported by the Ormiston Town Centre.
That's so cool. I remember watching that on Instagram, actually, you guys rolling in with a truck and all these people, and I was just like, man, these two are super brave, because I think for most of us, we want to dream big. Like, I think most people have this calling, not to always make big things or do big, but we want to live a bigger purpose, I guess, is what I'm saying by dreaming big. And to see it physically in action is so inspiring, because not many people who do really expensive projects like this actually share the nuts and bolts so I would really invite people to, if you've really enjoyed this conversation, do go and check out Lissy and Rudi, their website, their Instagram and stuff, because there is those moments of the journey are really fun to experience. I was very privileged. My friend Evie Kemp brought me to visit you guys in your studio one day. We ate really good cheese scones from the cafe at the Nathan Homestead. And I just remember two things happened for me. One, I was like trying really hard not to fangirl too much, because I was already a massive fan of you guys. So, it was like meeting my version of Taylor Swift, and I was just like so thrilled to be there. But what really, really inspired me when I got that insight was that you were working collaboratively. There were a number of other artists on site at the time, because I think you guys were starting to assemble. Quite a lot of the crochet had been done, not all of it, but quite a bit, and you were starting to sort of work with form and structure, and all sorts of things were happening. It was like this lovely beehive. But the thing that I took away from that was that there was something that felt uniquely Māori to the way that things were happening in the studio that I couldn't completely understand because I'm not Māori, but that I could appreciate was, I guess, often people try to be really structured and controlled about certain things. There was a fluidity and a kinship and a sharing and a relaxedness, even though you're creating this really epic thing. And I just can imagine that you could go into someone else's studio and that exact same project could feel quite different, a large-scale project. And I think that perhaps the intention with which you've created has been a very, very important part of the success of the story that the Wharenui now tells. Do you feel that that was true for the process?
Yeah. I mean, I know that one of Rudi and I's real gifts is the ability to collaborate. Because when we we love collaborating with people because we are really good at allowing creative processes to unfold. And we're not prescriptive. We're not like, you have to do it this way and that way. And no, because we know that like when we collaborate one day, Fleur, you know what you're on about, and we trust you to do what it is that you need to do. Plus, we have ultimate faith that it will all just work out. You know, and like in terms with our international collaborators, whom we'd never met at that stage, you know, those were 4 fibre artists that we admired online, London K being one of them.
How cool.
How cool. All of them jumped at the chance to participate in this wharenui. And, you know, we sent them the wool, and we had our Zooms online about what it is that we were doing. And then they could choose the different matariki star that they align to, and then create their panels. The only kind of thing that was the thing that they had to do was the size. But other than that, they had free reign. It was an open brief. And there were a couple of moments where it was like, oh, how will it work? And I was like, no, everything is going to be perfect. I just know it. And the unifying factor will be the wool, you know. And so it was. And everyone's one was so different. But I love that. And I think we're like that because, well, I love to be free, to be creative. I love when I work with people like with Rudi, I am safe to truly express myself freely. And, you know, I think it is a gift that we share with other people, that the gift of just being free, and we're not worried about perfection. It's really about the imperfection that makes it so perfect. You know, and just it's fun. Like, we never want people to work with us and be like, that was the worst experience, or never again. You know, because we imagine there are so many people that we have, that we know, like you, like so many other artists that we still want to work with. And we know that there are thousands of other artists worldwide that we are going to want to collaborate with. So, you know, it's, but that's Māori by nature.
That's what it felt as good as that, but also a little deeper. And just listening to you guys talk about the colours, the spaces, the ethos, the prayer, you know, the fact that you've grounded yourself continually, even how we started this conversation today. I felt quite nervous at the start of our conversation. I always do when I have conversations like this, but I knew you guys would be so good to talk to. And you brought your culture, but also your humanity to this experience. And then I feel that also in your work, and that is a real gift. And I love, it's so refreshing to hear people that can actually see and acknowledge their gifts, because lots of people have gifts that they suppress or that they dream to explore more deeply, but perhaps don't open themselves up to. When you were doing things, because obviously the wharenui is such a pivotal point of your career, but it is also relatively early in your career, because, you know, you guys have only really been properly full-on collaborating in this format for 8 years? So if that's the case, man, you're like essentially emerging artists, and you've got this incredible, huge, big, epic story that you're telling. I'm so excited to see how it grows and evolves. Earlier in our conversation, you mentioned that there was always this knowing that it would be a globally shared experience. And I love that you felt it and held that. Now today, having had the wharenui spend some time in some pretty epic spaces around Aotearoa, where is it going to go next? What's the vision, whether that's actual plans or let's put some stuff into the universe?
Look, we've got lots of seeds out there that are germinating. You know, right now the wharenui is resting in her resting place at Ormiston, but, you know, we know that even though she's resting, and we do refer to our whare as a she, that she is also working. Like, there is so much happening in that wairua realm to organise the journey for the timings to be right. And we've been we know the whare will go right around the world, but where exactly, where, when, with who, how will be made evident, as you know, it's TBC.
I love that. I was having a conversation with someone actually at part of the Take Two group the other day, and I said, do we need to add something else into the mix of this because we have time? And they said, no, grace and ease is what we do. So we will just allow there to be space with grace and ease. And that very much feels like what you guys are sort of saying is like, yeah, we've dreamed big and we trust that our vision will be understood. I mean, man, when you reference the fact that it's the right time, man, is it the right time? Like, having physically been in this artwork, this meeting place, this home, I wish that gift for everybody on this planet, because it is healing. It's healing. Both my girls have experienced it now, one of them with me and one of them with their auntie. And I really, when I spent time there, I just wanted that for them, because there's something about our creativity that is tangible, and then there's the other stuff, right? The magic that we can muse about, but it's not really any of our business even. Like, it's just happening with us, to us, around us. And I think allowing people to go into a healing space, like you said, the softness of the fibre, and Rudi, you know, you've lived that experience with teaching folks that are in really tough spaces, tough places, tough times. We need that. It's a service to humanity. How do you go from such a big project like this now, that yes, will have its journey, but its journey is probably in the stars, you know, that will happen as it happens.
Right.
How do you go from that to reintegrate your studio practice after such a big project?
Right. Yeah, good question. I mean, we've been in this is probably the longest downtime that we've had since the whare finished at the Civic. We were both absolutely spent in every way. And we've needed this time of reset to regenerate and dream again. You know, we have, I mean, the visions are still very big, and there's another wharenui that wants to come through. You know, the vision of the beehive is definitely a tupuna vision. But this, how do we do it? We have to just make sure we do our best to look after ourselves, eh?
We actually just have to be kind to each other.
Yeah.
We have to be loving, you know, because
it does take a lot.
Yeah. And hey, and do as much as we can just to just to do that. Just be kind to each other, kind to everyone as well. And not get into that, you know, we just want to be in our own little space, and still be able to you know, be proactive with people and that. So
That's really massive, because I can only imagine, you know, especially after your time at the Civic, in Auckland, just the Civic Theatre for non-Kiwis is a really iconic landmark in the New Zealand landscape. And so to have the wharenui spend time there must have felt really epic and exciting, but also, I mean, this is not putting a tent up, you know, this is rebuilding with love and care and artwork that I imagine even on a practical level, but particularly on an emotional level, has its fragilities and its need for your care. So you're not only the artists, you've birthed this vision, but you're also the custodians. That's a big responsibility. So is there I think all of us artists feel this sometimes when we're creating, like, is there a way that you create just for your own personal rest and therapy? Are there things that you do in your life, other forms of creativity that you delve into to soothe your soul and regroup when you've been giving so much?
Yeah, I like to ground myself within our taiao and in our environment, and I love to bird watch.
Cool.
And go out and do fishing and
mowing the
lawns.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just be grounded to the whenua.
That's beautiful.
And I just love making. So, you know, I'm a crafter. So, you know, that brings me so much joy. Like I've just made this week 3 different advent calendars, awesome. You know, just so we're always making, or, you know, just for the pure love of it, because that really is my deepest happy space, is making. And because in that space is where I really connect very, very deeply to who I am, and that's where I have my conversations with, you know, all my dead ones. That's where I'll work through issues that are going on for me in this realm, you know. So it's been really important. But I was very unmotivated after the Civic. I did have a little operation too, and that didn't help my kind of motivation levels. Yeah. But I spent a big chunk of time just chilling out, which we really needed to do. And Rudy's an active relaxer, so he was out mowing the lawns, and I was catching up on all my come dine with me episodes.
I think it's important to acknowledge that when you're an artist and a creative, you're a human being. Sometimes people go, oh, wow, these people have done this incredible epic thing. They must have superpowers. And you do, but you also don't, right? Like, you're also just a regular person who really needs a blimmin' good lie down after such an epic project, because also bringing dreams to life means that people come knocking on your door and they want to engage with you in lots of different ways, I imagine. So then I feel like no accident in a way that the wharenui is resting, because she knows that you and her are the same and one probably, and need to be able to travel together, right? So she can't go anywhere until you can go somewhere, and vice versa. Yeah, it's just really interesting. I don't think often we acknowledge both the emotional and physical energy of creating dreams, bringing dreams to life, whether tiny dreams or big dreams.
And it's a deeply spiritual also journey, and that's where too why, you know, when it is an extremely huge spiritual responsibility to hold the essence of the wharenui, both physically but more than that, spiritually, which all creativity is a spiritual practice, because you're tapping into some mighty deep stuff, eh?
Yeah, and it's an interesting thing, I think, when I don't know about you guys, but for me, creativity was my therapy and still is, and then became my day job. And so there's this like interesting balance, and I liked hearing the different ways you create, whether that's fishing, baking, making, mowing. Like, I do believe that I wish more people would realise that that is creativity, that walking through the world in a creative way, you can still soothe yourself as a creative without having to always be in the epic space. Epic is good, but that's not sustainable 24/7, 365, where we have our ebbs and flows, we have our... So in light of the fact that there's been a lot of activation happening, and now, have you guys started to embrace some smaller projects? Have you got anything else on the go at the moment, or are you just in regroup mode at the moment?
I'm sort of in preparing to go international. So I'm in design mode to crate and to put all the wharenui into a 40-foot container so it goes travels safely. And because I help fabricate all that as well. And so trying to keep all those costs down low. So just really prepping up for making sure the whare is ready to go, type of thing.
Rudi has so much responsibility. Like, he has the hardest job. I just swan in, I do a little bit of crochet. Rudi has to carve, he has to design, he has to figure out how this wharenui gets everywhere. He does all of that, and I'm just sort of the swanner around her. But
I don't think we agree with that, do we, Rudi? I think it's beautiful that you acknowledge. Do you know what's interesting is not many people collaborate creatively. A lot of people's visions are their own, and they don't find it easy to collaborate. And seeing how you guys collaborate is inspiring, because I'm married too, and I dearly love my husband, and we can barely collaborate on dinner some nights. So, I get that it's a true commitment on a much deeper level beyond the day-to-day. But when I hear you say, Rudi, I feel like there is just this beautiful balance with you two. Like, you're in awe of Rudi for doing that stuff because that's hard to you, but that's perfect for him because he's good at that, and then vice versa. And that's what makes it work, right? Is that you both bring your skills to the table, because you can't just have one or the other. And there's also this magical mix of masculine and feminine within your work, which is, I think, quite unique, I would say. Well, I can't think of another example of a couple that work together creating public artworks. So what an amazing thing to bring this world first crochet Wharenui Harikoa to the world as a married couple as well. Like, there's many kind of stories and journeys going on. So we know that the Wharenui is going to travel on. You guys have your ducks in a row, or getting in a row for that. How can people support that journey if they want to be part of it?
Thank you for that question, because, as a creative yourself, and when this is your full-time living, we really do need the support. And on our website, we have a Buy a Ball campaign, which we started when we were still making the wharenui, and it was a way to get people could sponsor a ball of wool, much like how people sponsor a brick in a building. And really it's so you can sponsor as little or as much as you would like to contribute to assisting us to travel the wharenui, to just really share this important kaupapa with the world. Or, we have merch on our website, or, honestly, just sending good wishes to us, good intentions. There we have the will, and I know the will and the love of tens of thousands of people that have come through the whare, and that is powerful. It is powerful. So in any way, small or big, you know, we do dream big. We would appreciate the help, as I know all artists need it. And, you know, artists do an amazing service in this world to share the gift of humanity with each other. So, yeah, thank you for that question. That is such a valuable question to ask all artists.
Yeah, well,
I suppose our website details will be on the.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be sharing your website, and folks will be able to check that out for sure.
And just to say quickly too, you know, any of the listeners worldwide, if you're directors of museums or galleries or, you know, please get in touch, because, you know, we are in talks with different institutions around the world. But, you know, if there could be the director of the Louvre listening right now, who knows? And if you are listening, kia ora, and please get in touch, because we would love to be in Paris as one of our locations. So
if you could just arrange that, I'm heading there next year. I would love to get a selfie. I think that I love that you put that out to the universe. I think it's really important to speak aloud the things that we wish to happen. And I have no doubt that this is how creative communities support each other. And the community that you're speaking to today happens to be one of the kindest, generous and beautiful communities online that I have ever had the privilege to participate with. So I can honestly say to you that you are in a good and safe and loving space. So if nothing else, the prayers and the wishes for you will be off the charts. Like the day that this conversation goes live, I guarantee we will feel it. They are beautiful souls. It sounds a bit corny, I know, but I've got to just say genuinely that online can be a strange space to make genuine connection, but this is one of the magic spaces that exists, and a great space to share and platform epic dreams. I would love to slowly wind up our conversation today by asking you both if you would be willing to share what advice you would give to creatives who are holding a big dream close to their hearts right now. What would you say to them?
Well, we really believe that, you know, the dreams that we're gifted have already they're already in a realm, not this particular realm. If they're in your dream realm, they already exist in another realm. And it really is about having the faith and the courage to step forward in the knowing. I did have this really incredible, I have a very, very, very incredible dream life, as in my nighttime dreams. And I had this one dream where the dream showed me how you live your dreams. It was so incredible and simple. And all it was it showed Melissa of the future, who's lived every single dream that the Melissa of today has had, so that Melissa today, all she has to do is walk in the confidence of knowing that everything she's dreaming has already come to pass. And so, I mean, I'm grateful for these dreams that I have that show me this. So I would just encourage you to know that whatever you're dreaming is already in another realm. And it's just about bringing it forth into this realm, having the belief. The belief is huge. The belief in yourself, the belief in the dream, the belief in the journey to bring it forth into this realm, and to dream ridiculously big dreams, because why not? Why not? And have the faith and courage that they will come, that you can manifest those dreams and bring them forth into this realm.
I love that so much. And to someone that says, I know I have these big dreams, and I believe you. I believe everything that you're saying, but how do I begin?
Yeah.
How do
Yes,
I
we can.
begin?
You know, well, sorry, I'll let poor Rudi. He's really got to jump in if he say something.
What's on the roll? Okay, go good.
But, you know, which makes me think of when I left that job and I didn't know how I had literally $20 in my bank account. I did not know how I was going to sustain myself through creativity. How was I going to? So I remember just sitting at my kitchen table, and I'm very much about writing affirmations. And I just wrote so many affirmations about living my dreams. And I prayed and I believed, and I just kept putting one foot in front of the other every day, because, you know, I'd be days I'd be sitting out now, my sleep out, making a cushion, and I would be sewing something going, you know, who cares that I'm making this cushion? Absolutely no one. It's just like, you know, what are you doing? And it's like, okay, well, your other option is go back and find a job. And it was like, okay, all right. Well, you know that's not an option. So you have to just keep putting one foot in front of the other and trusting what you know to be true. And you just keep going. And so if you haven't already started writing your affirmations, write affirmations, put them up on your wall, make them pretty, make them beautiful, look at them, read them, believe it, do all the things. You know, we don't know when we're going to transcend. Any moment we could all be, you know, you never know when this realm is over. So also too, to just have fun and put one foot in front of the other. Just one thing. It could just one thing. And it doesn't even have to be a physical thing. It could just be a mental shift in how you're deciding to look and think and feel about your dreams in a day. That, you know, just make it gentle. I believe in it being gentle, not, you know, crazy or something. I don't know. Rudi, what's your advice?
I just show lots of love, be kind, and you'll be catered for it.
I couldn't agree more. I think that most people believe that if they have big dreams, that means that they need some kind of magical knowledge or skill or cleverness to be able to begin. But actually, like you guys have just said, it's just one foot in front of each other. When you get the wobbles, you go back to your dream, back to your brief, back to your beliefs, back to your values, your purpose, your spirituality, whatever it is that grounds you in this world. For me, nature is my church. And so I go to nature and I do something really simple, like pick a flower and look at it. Yes. And don't try so hard. Have some fun. Like you said, no one cares that I'm making this cushion. I could not love that more. No one cares that I'm making this cushion, but I care if I can't make this cushion. So I'm going to go and make this cushion and then make something else, because the alternative is really not my dream for myself. And I love that. It is as simple as just beginning, and every day for the rest, because this is your life's work now, not just a project. Because a lot of people would say, okay, well, you've done this epic thing, you can go sit down now. No, this is your life's purpose, your life's work. So every day now, some days can be rest days, but the rest is the work too. Every step, every day is the work to bring your dreams to fruition. I just could not be more humbled to have been able to share just a little bit of your magic. You are both, not only are you really inspiring artists in your own right, as a couple, as collaborators, I feel proud to be a Kiwi and to know that you guys will represent us on the world stage. That feels really exciting to me. And I know that there's, like you said, tens of thousands of people that have experienced the Wharenui and your work in lots of different ways. There's probably actually millions if we think about the ripple effect, you know. But I really I really know that now you also have another community, the Take Two community, that will be cheering you on. And I am excited. I hope that maybe we'll be able to have another conversation in a couple of years' time, and there'll be a beautiful evolution to this journey to share. And thank you for introducing us to your beautiful work and for sharing it so generously with us.
Tēnā koe, Fleur. Tēnā koe.
Tēnā koe, Fleur. You know how we started off with karakia. Let us finish off with karakia, and just to bless us all on our way.
Thank you.
Me noi tātou. Kia tātou katoa, te whai o tō tātou a reki a hukraiti. Me te aroha o te atua, me te whiwhinga taitanga, ki te wairua tapu, ake. Amen.
Amen.
I'm going to go have a cry, like a happy cry now. This has just been a dream come true, a true privilege. Your light is already shining as you rest, as you play, as you build these epic stories of aroha and joy. Thank you. And see you on the gram, and hopefully see you in person at some point soon.
I hope so too, Fleur. Big mahi to you. Thank you so much, Fleur. Beautiful interview. Thank you.
Amazing.
Loved it. Much love. Take care. Bye,
and
guys.
thank you, everybody.
Thank you.